Alright, I think it's time we have a conversation about amazing defenders and the state of Yu-Gi-Oh! Side sets in general, because honestly, they have been hot garbage ever since Toon Chaos, and even Toon Chaos wasn't as great as a lot of people think it was. It had the benefit of being short-printed, poorly produced, and released during a time where supply chain issues were at an all-time high, so we might remember it a little more fondly despite it being on the better end. Let's jump into the video. Alright guys, thanks so much for checking out the video, and please go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Leave a comment down below, let me know what you think about the video as a whole, whether or not you agree or disagree with my takes. But of course, today is the release date of Amazing Defenders. It is the 6th side set that has been released by Konami with this new format. Of course, we started that out with Toon Chaos way back in 2020, so it's been almost 3 years. And we'll get to Toon Chaos in a second. Alright, Amazing Defenders releases today, and the MSRP is $4.49 per pack. So it is one of those sort of increased rate MSRP prices. Now, Konami's website doesn't list a specific amount for a box price, so if we just do some quick math and multiply $4.49 times 24, you'd be looking at almost $100 quote-unquote MSRP per box. Now, obviously, nobody's going to be paying that amount, and we know that local stores get these at a lower price, and typically a good range you would see at your locals would be somewhere between like $65, $75, and that is way too much to pay on this product, but if you want to support your local store, I do understand that approach. But the reason I mention this is because the MSRP on all products have gone up, and all across the board we have seen a lot of these side set products flop on their face. Now, more profound YouTubers than myself, like House of Champs, have gone into detail about the logistics behind this and why the 3 ultras per box and 1 collector rare per every 3 boxes means you're basically just either relying on crazy luck or even then, I mean, just spending large amounts of money to have any chance of decent return.
At first, we didn't know what to do with all the money. We tried burying it, shredding it, and burning it. We decided to just give it all away.
Come again, sir. I'm getting back in line.
But Amazing Defenders doesn't even have good return cards beyond a couple. The highest priced card in the set is the collector rare version of 1 for 1, which as of this video is $70. So the MSRP of a box is going to be around that price, and the max that you'd be able to pull would be that 1 for 1. Now, the Pearly, which is another card that some people are a bit intrigued in, collector rare, is holding pretty steady at the time of this video, around 80, but the market price is higher on 1 for 1, so you could kind of interchange. Obviously, the $80 is higher than the 70, but I do think it's pretty safe to say 1 for 1 is going to have the largest ceiling overall for legacy formats and just being a playable card in general. If the best thing you could possibly pull out of a box is worth the MSRP of a box on average, assuming you're not paying marked up prices, that does not say good things for the set. If we take the collector rares out of it, the highest price card in the set currently is Ohime the Manifested Mikanko, and that is around $18. It is one of the fairy ritual monsters, and I know Mikanko does have a bit of hype behind it. It drops off after that down to Pearly, which in its regular version is $7. So your top end cards in this set that are not collector chase rares are $18 and $7 respectively, and it gets way worse from there. I'm not going to dig too much into that because I just wanted to prove the point that you're looking at a bottoming out, unlike we've seen for most other side sets, and it's just kind of sad because back in the day, you had sets like Secret Forces and even Dark Saviors, where it was the all foils with the secret. I think Secret Slayers is another good example of this, where you actually had like upgrades for certain things. You had cards like Mystic Tomato in Dark Saviors, or Upstart Goblin and Solemn Judgment in Secret Slayers, where you were getting foil upgrades as well as new cards, and the sets as a whole just felt more rewarding to open because you could put more things out instead of these glorified commons that have the rares being in everything now means nothing. They're commons. It's not like there's any actual rarity to them. You're guaranteed a set number of rares in each pack. And this set as a whole, despite having some, intrigue, people like the Rescue Ace. I know the Mikanko stuff has done okay in the OCG in a few events, and there's definitely some potential there. But overall, I mean, the set is a major, major letdown, and I think this whole formatting of these sets now it's safe to say that this is a letdown. If we look at the last set that came out like this, which was Tactical Masters. Tactical Masters came out around 3 months ago, give or take. Booster boxes of that are going for around $45 on the secondary market, and that actually had competitively viable archetypes with Runic. Labyrinth is still getting a lot of hype, and I think even some of the Labyrinth collector rares now, like Ariana and Lovely Labyrinth of the Silver Castle, are actually going up in price a little bit as people start to kind of chase after that. But you've got cards like collector rare Cyclone, Trap Trick, and Droll and Lockbird, all of which are really good cards at certain points in different formats, are just worth nothing. But at least this set has a couple of ultra rares like Welcome Labyrinth and Runic Tip that are in the $25, $35 range, so you have some decent returns. This one's definitely better than Amazing Defenders, there's no doubt about that. But it's not better to a point where it like really stands out. It's just better to a point where you're not as likely to lose all your money, but you're absolutely taking that risk regardless, especially if you're chasing collector rares. And let's go back even beyond Tactical Masters to Grand Creators, which was definitely one of the better of these sets. Grand Creators did have Water Enchantress, Rite of Armistier, the Adventure Package, Exo Sister, and Punk. All three of those archetypes have actually done well competitively in some form or fashion. Exo Sister actually made it to the top of OYCS. Obviously, the Adventure Package was seeing play in everything for a while, and then, you know, we got Tier Elements coming out and Sprite, and it sort of pushed that stuff to the back. But even the Punk stuff was seeing play as part of, like, those package or pile decks with the Punk engines and the tuner stuff. Hulk getting banned did hurt that, of course, but my point is this set was loaded with actual good archetypes, and even that is still only $52 for a box on average. So yes, it's higher than Tactical Masters, and definitely going to end up, I think, higher than Amazing Defenders, with a better return on investment, but it's not like it's some crazy value set. It's not doing well for itself over time despite those competitively viable cards. And you have collector rares in that set like Torrential Tribute that is a generic sort of staple. You have Emergency Teleport, and then you even have an ultra rare like Rite of Armistier, which is about $50, that's not a collector rare and still is worth pulling, and yet people are just not. This product is not aging well. It's not holding value, which is completely because hitting any specific collector is borderline impossible because you'd need to open a shit ton of cases to get any type of guaranteed ratio. So this format just isn't working. Like this set structure just sucks, and we have 6 of them, 7 if you count King's Court, because that one technically, while it's not a deck building set, was still using the same format, and it's just not great. If we go back even further, King's Court's one of the exceptions. Those booster boxes are holding up a little bit better around the $80 to $90 range because you had the playable, you know, upgrades in there for certain things like Draco Future, and you also had Reinforcement of the Army, and then you have, you know, the Pharaoh Rare Egyptian Gods, which were not great from an aesthetic standpoint, and were not super popular, but I do think that will help the collector's value over time. Let's just take King's Court out of the equation while still saying it's not a great set. It's just the, you know, one of the better examples of this. We jump back to Ancient Guardians, a set that is arguably worse than Amazing Defenders, but I question that because at least Pancratops, Skullmeister kind of held on well, but it's pretty rough after that when the collector rares are even like $12 in that set and booster boxes are around $35. So I think Ancient Guardians may still be the worst defender of this, but it's not this like far and away race of like, oh my god, it's, you know, I mean, this is pretty bad, and the value is just not holding up well for any of these sets. Going back beyond that, of course, we've got Genesis Impact, which had Drytron, which was a meta-relevant archetype, as well as Magistus and Live Twins. Not quite on that same level, but there was still some hype for Magistus, and Live Twins were definitely getting some momentum behind them at one point. $47 for a box of Genesis Impact 2 years after it came out. And that's, you know, with those chase cards, with cards like Live Twin Lila and Evil Twin Kisakil and Lila being up there in value around $65, but nothing is aging well in these sets, and not even it like reprints aren't hurting it as much because the collector rares should still maintain value, but as they keep putting out more collector rares and keep making them harder to get and bogging them down with some garbage collector rares, it's just not working. And I think that Konami really needs to like take a step back and look at certain sets, because we think about sets like Mystic Fighters and Secret Slayers. Neither of those sets were amazing in terms of their applications. Obviously, Secret Slayers came out during the pandemic. It had the Eldritch stuff. It had the Adamantipator stuff, and honestly, it wasn't super easy to get because of supply chain issues. That set has aged extremely well, to the point where booster boxes are over $200. Same with Mystic Fighters, and it had the Dragon Maid stuff and some of the Math Mech, but these all-foil sets age so much better because the supers in them would start to go up over time. Your, Allure of Darknesses, your Upstart Goblin, like I mentioned earlier, Solemn Judgment, Trap Trick. You go back to, different foil upgrades of certain things. It was just a better product overall, even with short prints, because at least you had the opportunity to give foil upgrades to other things for legacy formats. You had the opportunity to make your sets more exciting to open. There is no reason you couldn't go back and put that all secrets or all foil where you have like 5 supers and 1 secret, or even if you want to do 4 ultras and 1 secret, whatever, and then still put collector rares in those side sets and still have them have value and have a little bit more of a chase, while appealing to the larger player base and sort of acknowledging that this set format is not working. Toon Chaos is the pinnacle. Everyone loves Toon Chaos. It was a really, really hyped set, but it was so shorted. It came out during the pandemic. It had really, really good reprint cards at the time and was the first set for collector rares. So, of course, Gamma, BLS, Stardust, those were crazy, crazy cards to get in collector rare, and the first editions have held some of their value, but they're not holding value as well as people had sort of thought that they would. First edition Stardust Dragon Collector Rare is only $150 right now, and that's a sold listing. There was a point where that card was like $200, $250, and it just isn't holding its value, despite being one of the better sets. But if we really take the sort of blinding goggles off and look at Toon Chaos objectively, the set is filled with a lot of garbage. Like, there were some good reprints and a few good imports, but it's not a great set, even if it has aged better. If you got in on Toon Chaos at $75, $80 a box, you're doing pretty well right now, especially for first edition. So there are outliers, but Toon Chaos felt like the peak, and then it bottomed out, and we had hope with King's Court, but it didn't live up to the expectations. Grand Creators was the one that I thought really would have pushed it in a different direction because it had so many playable cards, but even then, it just hasn't aged well, and it hasn't held up. So I posed the question to you guys, with Amazing Defenders being out, are you planning on buying this product? I am not. I will not be opening it on the channel. I will not be buying anything for it on the channel. I just don't think it's worth the investment, and I think it's kind of unfortunate for vendors, shops, whoever, invest in these. I mean, people may sell them because people want to buy stuff to crack open or support their locals, but there's no value to be had in this set. And obviously opening packs is gambling, so going singles is usually the way to go. But at least if there's some incentive to crack open boxes, it gives people that like to do that sort of thing a bit more to look for. And that's just not the case here. So what do you guys think? Do you think that these side sets with this formatting is working? Do you think that it needs a change? I would be very interested if people think it's working and to hear why, because the facts just don't support it, and the way it's aging and the way that it's going is just not doing it for me, and I would like to wager that it's probably not doing it for too many other people either. That's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thanks for taking the time to listen to my rant. This was not the most organized video I've ever made, but I do think if you sift through the chaos, there are some valid points to be made, and I'm interested to hear what you guys think. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.